If you're looking for an awesome product at a great price, be sure to check out the link in the description. Heathrow Airport has submitted its ambitious plans for a third runway, signaling a significant step in a multi-billion-pound investment aimed at boosting the UK's economic prospects. The shovel-ready proposals, part of a staggering £50 billion investment, have been presented as a catalyst for job creation and economic growth. The government suggests that expanding Europe's largest airport could generate 100,000 jobs, promising a substantial boost to the national economy. The proposed expansion, involving a 2-mile (2 kilometers) runway, would necessitate the diversion of the M25 motorway. It's designed to accommodate more than 750 additional flights daily, potentially increasing the total annual passenger capacity to 150 million. However, the ambitious project isn't without its detractors. Environmental campaigners have already voiced strong opposition, labeling the scheme a doomed endeavor. They argue that the expansion would release millions of tons of CO2 into the atmosphere, disproportionately benefiting a small segment of affluent travelers. The airport, under the leadership of its management team, is advocating for swift government approval, aiming to secure planning permission by 2029 and commence operations by 2035. These proposals mirror the plans previously submitted in 2019, which received initial approval from the government and members of parliament. Legal challenges on climate grounds briefly stalled the project, but an appeal overturned these obstacles in 2020. The pandemic subsequently led to a temporary pause in the plans, as passenger numbers plummeted. Heathrow's stakeholders, including prominent investors such as the French private equity firm Airline, and sovereign wealth funds from Saudi Arabia and Qatar, are now seeking crucial legislative changes and long-term political backing before submitting a comprehensive planning application. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, has expressed strong support for the expansion, while Heathrow is looking for firm policy guarantees. These guarantees include modernization of airspace to establish new flight paths, the passage of the Planning and Infrastructure Bill, and assurance from the Civil Aviation Authority (CAA) to allow the airport to levy charges to airlines at a level sufficient to recover its substantial investment. The estimated cost of the runway itself has risen to £21 billion, a significant increase from the initial £14 billion estimate 6 years ago, primarily due to rising construction costs. Additionally, expanding Terminal 5 to accommodate the increased passenger traffic is projected to cost £12 billion, with another £15 billion allocated to upgrades across the airport, regardless of the runway development. Heathrow's CEO, Thomas Woldby, emphasizes the urgency and importance of the expansion, citing operational capacity constraints that negatively affect trade and connectivity. The airport is prepared to invest, and the CEO stated, "We are effectively operating at capacity to the detriment of trade and connectivity." With a green light from government and the correct policy support underpinned by a fit-for-purpose regulatory model, we are ready to mobilize and start investing this year in our supply chain across the country. We are uniquely placed to do this for the country. It is time to clear the way for takeoff. A government spokesperson echoed the sentiment, stating that the expansion could stimulate growth, trade, and tourism while creating over 100,000 jobs. British Airways, currently operating half of the flights from Heathrow, anticipates increased competition with expansion. The government is expected to review the plans during the summer, with Heathrow urging for a decision in September. In addition, the government will review an alternative proposal submitted by the Aurora Group, which involves a shorter runway further east. Heathrow's management has acknowledged the possibility of a shorter runway. Business groups and unions, along with the government, back the expansion, despite concerns that unrestricted aviation growth clashes with the UK's net-zero climate ambitions. Business organisations such as the CBI, the British Chambers of Commerce, Make UK, and the Federation of Small Businesses jointly stated that a third runway will open up vital access to major and emerging markets, unlocking billions in private investment, strengthening supply chains, creating jobs and driving skills across the country. Expansion, as claimed by Heathrow, would spur increased competition. However, airlines are protective of their valuable slots at the airport. EasyJet considers this a unique opportunity to operate from the airport at scale. But opponents question the project's viability, pointing to the failure to progress despite previous approvals. Paul McGuinness, the chair of the No Third Runway Coalition, warned of potential financial risks, cautioning taxpayers could be